What about a family who's, is maybe listening to this and going, wow. Okay, so we're one of those families that wasn't saving. And if it's us setting the example, what can we do to turn things around and start creating healthy habits that we can now teach to our kids?
Yeah, so eventually the rubber has to meet the road, right? So I can't just talk about Sherpa metaphors forever and just high level motivational lifestyle stuff. I do think in the end, one of the easiest things to do is I say, understand your situation, so, I'm not technically a financial advisor. I don't sit down one-on-one with families. I just speak to groups, but I really emphasize that if you really want to kind of put your life on one sheet of paper, just really kind of get a sense of your, where are your debts? What are your priority debts to pay off? Just understand the weaknesses, but also understand the strengths and the income. And is there potential for extra income, the extra overtime or side job or just something you can do internally to get up a little bit more earnings potential. But, there's a tedious side a little bit, right? But maybe I didn't mind it because I was an engineer. But believe it or not, so I'm 55, but my wife and I, we still have a clipboard on the counter and we write down everything we spent. How many times in the course of a day do you really pull your wallet out or the credit card? And, we just have a little bit of a system that has various buckets and we write it down. And, occasionally I'm not that organized with it, but occasionally then I'll just put it in the computer and see, kind of amazing how it looks noisy day to day, but over the long term, it's just surprisingly repeatable year to year. And it allows us to have some discipline. But like I said, I don't really believe in budgets, line item budgets. I just think they're too tedious. They're too hard. It's like, I live up here where it snows all the time. So, you could go skiing, but skiing's really expensive. But are you really going to have a line item for skiing? It's like I only do it twice a year. But so what I encourage is, when we actually finally, late in my book, when I say, let's actually talk about how to save, I advocate a method where I say save first, literally save first and then live off what is left. So, you have your income minus that savings and then minus your needs. If you really address your needs and really understand, like, I've got to pay this bill, I've got to pay this rent or this mortgage and this insurance. And even needs can be cloudy because you might call a roof over your head a need, but, is a 4,000 square foot house a need? I mean, it's like you can debate, but maybe that's your priority so long as you don't have 20 of those things. But, so I say income minus savings minus needs equals wants. So to me, the wants is like this bucket of, I call it what's left. And I'm working with someone to create an app called What's Left. So it could just be, it's the pile that's left at the end of the month. And I just know I can go to restaurants, or I could go golf, or I could go ski, or I could save, or I could give to charity, or until that what's left is done. And then I'm done. That last week might be macaroni and cheese. But it's not this line item thing that seems impossible to actually understand.
Because there's only three categories. You're condensing it down instead of all these lists of,
And it's easier said than done when I say save first, because you asked the question, really framed the question of a family that might actually already be a little bit behind the eight ball. So if you're already a little behind the eight ball, then you've got to realize those debts and prioritize based on whatever the interest rate and just what are you going to pay off first.